Okay, let's close out this 100 kilogram to 1 ton with 3 more items. And once again, I should apologize for the little rustling sound you hear in some parts of the podcast, because I'm sitting in on a warm day with the windows open and there is a nice breeze. It's a shame not to enjoy it and to save energy. So I listen to the podcast. It's not too terribly bad, so if you feel it needs to be re-recorded, you can send me a message. Okay, a necklace. It's zero CO2 equivalent if you just hand it down or make it from driftwood and seashells, like most artists do, but they are not very rich often. It's 200 kilograms CO2 equivalent if you spend $750 worth of new Welsh gold. This Welsh gold is supposed to be the environmentally friendly way of mining for gold. Obviously, we know that there are many issues with diamonds and gold, exploitation of labor, poor environmental conditions, dust, and all sorts of issues. The carbon footprint is 400 kilograms CO2 equivalent if you spend 750 on gold and diamonds sweated out of mines in developing countries. Okay, many issues there. I won't say much other than to again say that people love jewelry. I'm wearing a piece of gold for historical reasons, and many people in developing countries use gold as a way to as a saving, because they don't trust the banks, or they don't trust the family structure is such that it's easier to save in gold and diamonds and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's look at something more concrete like a computer and using it. So the machine itself could have 200 kilograms CO2 equivalent if it's a simple low-cost laptop, 720 kilograms CO2 equivalent for a 2010 21.5 inch iMac. Hopefully this is going down. We will look at some claims from Apple itself on these environmental friendly practices. 800 kilograms CO2 equivalent if it's an all the frills desktop. In general, laptops are more efficient than desktops, but that is changing as well. In addition, we have electricity consumption, because laptops are typically running all the time. Unless you shut it down and pull off the plug, most machines are consuming energy even when they are shut down. Okay, 13 grams CO2 equivalent per hour if it's an energy efficient laptop, 69 grams CO2 equivalent per hour for a 2010 21.5 inch iMac, 165 grams CO2 equivalent per hour if you're using an old desktop machine. So your use of services and networks typically 5,500 grams CO2 equivalent per hour. So you can do the numbers per year. So this is the fastest rising part of the footprint of computing data centers. Add a bit more for any peripherals and demands you place on the other machines via your use of the internet. There are lots of articles on how data centers are becoming energy hogs. We all like to save our information forever, back up everything onto the cloud, messages, images, emails, files, and so on. And those data centers are running 24/7, requiring a lot of energy. A lot of the cloud companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, Google are announcing that they are going all renewable energy at some point. So hopefully that'll begin to reduce the environmental footprints of data centers as well. The machine itself, even before you can turn it on, a new iMac has the same footprint as flying from Glasgow to Madrid and back. So Apple releases its own numbers, and this author has a lot of issues with the numbers and redoes some of them and argues that Apple undercounts its carbon footprint. Using the computer, the electricity emissions typically equal the footprint of manufacture after 15,000 hours. That's 9 hours every day for 5 years. So electricity emissions typically equal the footprint of manufacture after 15,000 hours. That's 9 hours per day for 5 years. Okay, so here is some information from Apple. They are looking at materials, tracking, chemistry, trade-in, responsible packaging, and energy efficiencies. So this is the website where you can find PDF files. So made with better materials, 100% recycled aluminum enclosure, 100% recycled tin in the solder for the main logic board, tracking climate change, 100% commitment to transitioning our entire manufacturing supply chain to 100% renewable electricity by 2030, smarter chemistry, Apple trade-in, so return your device through Apple trade-in and will give you a new life or recycle it for free, responsible packaging, and energy efficiency. Less energy consumed than the Energy Star energy efficiency requirement. Sorry, there's a chopper flying by. So they are looking at the product life cycle in terms of make, packaging and shipping, use, recovery, and source materials. Under make, the Apple Supplier Code of Conduct sets strict standards for protection of people in our supply chain and the planet that we all share. Every year we assess our suppliers' performance in upholding the standards required by our code. So they look at greener chemicals, zero waste to landfill, supplier energy use. So obviously Apple relies on suppliers at various levels all over the world. A lot of things made in China, some in India, some in Thailand, Malaysia, God knows where else. In terms of use, the 13-inch MacBook Air uses 71% less energy than the requirement for Energy Star. Okay, so here is kilowatt hour use in less uses in energy. So MacBook is down here at the lower end of Energy Star requirements. Energy Star allows fairly high energy consumption, I suppose. So energy consumption of Energy Star rated products. Apple devices consistently rank among the high performing products rated by Energy Star, which sets specific specifications that typically reflect the 25% more energy efficient devices on the market. A 13-inch MacBook Air comes 71% less energy, consumes 71% less energy than the requirement for Energy Star. Okay. Finally, a mortgage. Why is mortgage so important? Because there is a whole banking industry behind it with all its computers, agents, travel, buildings, energy consumption, data storage, maintenance of their properties, etc., etc. So 800 kilograms CO2 equivalent per year for 150,000 on 5% interest. That's the whole month of 10-ton living. What can you do? The advice is to take smaller mortgages and use the difference to pay for renewable energy, solar roofs, wind energy, carbon offsets, planting trees, whatever else. But this is going quite deep into what you can do, and I wouldn't blame you if you didn't want to track so many details. But if you are inclined to do it, then by all means you should go ahead. Asking financial institutions for their carbon footprint is going to be not so easy, I suspect. Big companies like Apple, Amazon, Google, and Microsoft are beginning to announce a lot of innovations, a lot of goals, a lot of strategies for reducing their carbon footprint and so on, but not sure when the same will come from financial companies, even though some banks are beginning to push towards reducing their investment in environmentally unfriendly companies like fossil fuels, increasing their investments in so-called impact investment, I think, where they want to invest in green technology and other environmentally friendly companies and so on and so forth. But taking your mortgage and worrying about a lot of other things is not always easy. So if you can do it, great. If not, don't feel guilty.